Good evening, San Bernardino. I'm glad you guys could join me. I know it's a couple minutes late, but always fun with technical difficulties, but here we are. I have a special live that I wanted to do tonight because some things have come up, and I think it's important that we talk about them because what's happening in our city is is history repeating itself. And so let me make sure that we are all live and everything is all set. So hang on, some of you are asking me where I'm at. I'm here. So we'll give it a couple minutes. I hope everybody's having a good start to your week. It's definitely cold and windy and beautiful. I'm so glad kind of winter has kicked in. So let's double check. We are here. Okay, good. Very good. All right. Hi, Sophia. Hi, Tim. Thank you guys for joining. I am going to share this. So somebody, let's see. Okay. If you can share the link to anybody that you guys want to watch this. So please do. All right. So tonight's topic is really important because in the last meeting that the council held, there was a consent calendar item. And the new city manager was proposing the adoption of two deputy city manager positions. And there was controversy was pulled because oddly enough, and this is always you guys truly and honestly where the red flags start to like wave and on fire is Theodore Sanchez, Teddy of all people. So there wasn't enough transparency behind what the city manager was proposing. And so we're going to talk about that because a new one of the two deputy city managers has been selected, and we need to talk about it. It's very, very important. And as you guys can see, we're talking about cronyism, and I'm going to expose some stuff that I think is relevant to where we are and what's happening. So we'll give you a little quick background. So on December 6th, the city manager proposed adopting or adding two new deputy city managers to his office. This is in addition to the assistant city manager position that he has, which is Eddie. Okay. And I know some people don't know who Eddie is. Lady that sits next to him, very quiet. I couldn't even find a picture of her. So that's how kind of non-existent Eddie is in the city. So the city manager proposes, I want to show you the agenda item because this is very important. So um, the human resources director, Susie Soren, puts this together with the city manager, proposes these two people. We don't have these positions in the city, by the way. I need to understand we have a city manager and assistant city manager. The previous interim, Charles McNeely, had proposed adding some positions to his department roughly just a couple months ago, like before he left. And the consensus of the council was no, you don't need the additional staff, which I agree with, by the way. But now here is this new city manager that the five of them have chosen. And they talk about this position. So these two people, the deputy city manager is part of the city's executive team and is considered to be an administrative generalist assigned specific activities within the broad range of the city administrative operations or responsibility for specific departments. This classification is distinguished from an assistant city manager by the latter's responsibility to assist the city manager in overall management of city operations. The incumbents will be placed at a salary range of 700, which means that they will earn between $15,785.50 a month, upwards to possibly $19,186.84 a month. and will assist in the program planning coordination of departmental activities as they relate to the delivery of services and quality of life of residents. One deputy city manager will be assigned to the operational service department of Public Works, Park and Recreation Services, and Community Development and Housing. The second deputy city manager will be assigned to the internal service departments of Human Resources, Information Technology, Finance. Although not an internal department, the deputy city manager will be also assigned to the Animal Services. So, okay. Now, these are not like, this isn't a position that doesn't exist anywhere, but this is new to our city. And it says, which I thought was very interesting. So, two positions that do not exist. And they say the fiscal impact, there is enough cost savings in the city's budget to offset the funding of these positions. Now, we're talking combined. So, these between 15 and 19 thousand a month, we're roughly 250 some thousand, so about a $500,000 a year just in salaries of these two. Couple that with benefits, and we're looking of upwards of $1 million a year, $1 million a year in the city manager's budget for two people. And there's enough offset to fund these positions and here again is always my issue. When we went to go pave the streets, we didn't have enough money. When we look at funding for any type of capital improvement, when we look at getting back into City Hall, when we look at improvements throughout the community, we never have the funds. But apparently there are enough savings in the city's budget to give the city manager an additional $1 million per year, you guys, per year. $6 million over 6 years. Let's put that in comparison. Okay. So the third page, I think this is really where Teddy kind of stepped in and was talking. If you look at the attachments, the only backup information that the city manager provided was the resolution, which is, what they signed. Here, we're going to do this, this, and this. They provided the salary schedule and a side letter agreement. There was no job description. Imagine this. You're about to be hired for a position that has no description of your duties other than what was specified directly in the agenda, which was here, this person's either going to be over here covering this, or they're going to be over here covering this. There are no outlines of duties. Even more so, there was no definitive description of the qualifications someone would have to hold this position. That was where Teddy Sanchez spoke up and was like, hey, this is not transparent. This is weird. This is what HR, and Scott, perfect question. In what human resources world does that ever happen? In what universe of human resources? And look, you guys, this is my specialty. This is why I think this is so important, because I worked in the city of San Bernardino. I worked in the civil service department, which was comprised of hiring all classified staff. Okay, everybody that was a part of the civil service, I worked in conjunction with those departments to help hire. Human resources worked with unclassified staff. Unclassified staff are people that are it's basically at will. They're not protected as under the same rules as classified employees. However, they all have job descriptions, because what we know, what the essence of human resources in a government bureaucracy dictates, is that you must know the expectations and qualifications of any candidate holding any positions, because you can't work people out of their job descriptions. But Fred Charette, Juan Figueroa, oh my gosh, I want to say, I want to say Sandra or Damon, one of the two, voted to pass this. It was 3-3, it was tied. And Helen Tran, Mayor Helen Tran, is the one when Teddy Sanchez objected and said, hey, there's not enough backup material here. I'd like you to come back, show us the impact, and show us the job descriptions. And Helen Tran broke the tie and said, no, we trust the city manager. What the city manager is transparent. He said, hey guys, I'm here. I'm transparent. Okay, all right. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. I just want to, this is the salary schedule. And they showed the assistant city manager. So this is Eddie. Eddie makes between $16,184 and $19,669.95 plus benefits. So that's the rank right above the deputy. Now, what is concerning, as we were talking about, is that that's it. This is all it is, guys. Here's the salary schedule, here's a resolution, no job description. Well, as we all know, information is nothing more than a Google click away. So I did what I do. I Googled deputy city manager. And you know what? Right now, at this very moment, other cities are looking and hiring for deputy city managers. And so I just pulled, this is a brief description out of NeoGov, which is literally where you apply for almost every government job possible that's placed on there. And I just want to share with you the typical qualifications, abilities, and education and/or experience that cities require of their deputy city managers. This is right now, if you wanted to apply, the city, they're still accepting applications, by the way. So to be a deputy city manager in this city, and this is just for transparency, this is the city of El Segundo, open right now. They want you to have knowledge of the principles and practice utilized in municipal government operations, including the principles and practices of organization, administration, municipal finance, and personnel, legal, financial, and public relation issues common to local government, related laws, ordinances, and regulations, principles and practice of strategic planning, methods of analyzing, evaluating, and modifying administrative procedures, principles of effective public relations and interrelationships with community groups and agencies, private businesses and firms, and other levels of government, principles, practices, and techniques of planning, laws, ordinances, rules, and regulations regarding local government operations, principles, practices of supervision. All of that. I mean, you would want, right? I mean, it kind of makes sense, a deputy city manager to have that wealth of knowledge and be very, very, let's make sure we're very direct. It all says local government, municipal government, local government. That's us. That's city. City is municipal, city is local. They want this person to have the ability to provide effective leadership and coordinate the activities of assigned municipal organizational units, develop and administer goals, objectives, and procedures for assigned areas, prepare and administer large and complex budgets, negotiate and administer contractual agreements, conduct and direct research, perform difficult analysis, and prepare and present reports, read and interpret laws, deal constructively with conflict and develop effective resolutions, communicate effectively both orally and in writing, and establish and maintain cooperative working relationships. Pretty straightforward, pretty high level, straightforward stuff. So how do we gain all of this knowledge and build on this ability? Well, in order to be considered, you have to have graduated from an accredited four-year university with a degree in public administration or a closely related field, and have 7 years of increasingly responsible experience in municipal government, local city government, including 2 years at least at the department head or top management level. And a master's degree in public administration or related field is desirable. So knowledgeability, and then they want you, on average, a deputy city manager is someone who has worked in a city for at least 7 years and been a director of a department for a minimum of 2 years while there. This was not in the backup material, you guys. The city manager did not put in a single qualification, ability, or knowledge skill required. But he picked somebody. So this is where the information comes out, is that Charles Montoya hired somebody to be our deputy city manager like a couple of days ago. So this passed on the 6th. There was no job description created by the human resources director. There were no qualifications created or substantiated, and there was no recruitment ran for this position. Now, we know in the charter stipulates that the city manager absolutely has the sole discretion to hire whomever they choose. But that is not a free-for-all stance. That does not mean that the city manager can go out and hire anybody off the street, because that is why job descriptions are created. You're only allowed to hire the people that are qualified for the position. That's what human resources would dictate, right? So was a qualified candidate selected? Ladies and gentlemen, residents of the city of San Bernardino, was a qualified candidate selected? No. No. Do you know who got the job? The HR director, Susie Soren. Susie Soren, the HR director, who did not provide a job description, which in any other city she would not qualify to apply in comparison to. Susie Soren, who has 1 year of experience working in a city. And that experience is literally in our city. She spent 20 years at the county of San Bernardino. That is not the city. It does not specify that these are interchangeable. And you guys are thinking, oh my God, where have I heard this before? Where have I heard of someone bringing a county employee into a city and giving them a top level position? Yeah, that's right. We did that with Robert Field, the previous city manager, who had never worked for a city before. And we gave him the top position. And here's Susie Soren, who just came in November of 2022, now being made a deputy city manager. And you want to know the real kicker? You want to know what makes this even harder for those of us in public administration, for those of us in the city who continually watch? Susie helped bring Charles Montoya's resume forward, you guys. This unqualified city manager who has a history of being fired for fiscal mismanagement and taking of public funds that are not his. Susie Soren was instrumental in making sure that his resume made it in. That's the human resources director we have. And this is what we get. One hand washes the other, right? Hey, help me get a job because I can't get one for over a year and a half, been fired out of Avondale. And I'll help you out, right? Let's see what we can do, right? What if we just made her the deputy city manager of the city of San Bernardino? Why else would a city director of a human resources department not put a job description forward, even in a job she herself was about to get? You can't make it up. You can't. This is a guy, and I put both pictures up because the city manager you see on the right is the one we have. The other city manager is the one that is what the guy looked like before all of this stuff down. The city manager of our city, who is under investigation by the Attorney General of Arizona, who was brought in here by the HR director with the help of the HR director, who was given two positions without any job description, without without any layout of how this person should be qualified, gave it to the person who didn't give them the information. This is exactly what Rob Field did with his assistant city manager. If you remember, Eddie, and I always get her name wrong, Eddie Evelyn was the human resources director. She was an analyst manager out of the city of Corona. Her first bump up as a director of human resources, she came in about 6 to 8 months later. He made her the assistant city manager when Rebecca Kramer left. Guys, San Bernardino, unqualified people need unqualified people for a reason. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. That is what is happening in our city. This is the person. This decision was made. And our mayor told us, I am confident that the council will take action to hire Charles Montoya. He has demonstrated in the past that he will stand up and do the right thing for himself and his community. Charles Montoya is absolutely living up to doing the right thing for himself, which is putting the human resources director that slid his resume across that table, that helped him get a job after he was unhireable for over a year, and she got a promotion. Nothing is changing but the names. You know, sometimes I have to sit back because I mean, look, you can watch my meetings at the council, you can watch my quotes. You know, I get asked a lot, like, when do you stop being an advocate, an activist on our community? And when do you start being, turn the corner and become this candidate? And and when does your tone change? When, sometimes you come off so harsh. And you guys, look, I'm here tonight because you need to know these things. There is no point, really and truly, honestly, of me running for office if I'm not going to be the person that I've been in our community. And if you understood 100% what was going on here, your tone would reflect mine. Because if I say it any softer, does it make it any better that people are being put in positions they're not qualified for? If I whisper to you that the cronyism and the nepotism and and the corruption that is happening in our city is strangling us beyond the point of repair, does it make it easier for you to digest? This is what you should expect from a candidate, from a council member, from your neighbor. It's the truth. We are in trouble. We really are, San Bernardino. The same thing that happened 5 years ago with the mayor Valdivia handpicking his candidates to put on the dais is currently happening right now with Mayor Helen Tran handpicking her candidates for this election. The same way they brought in an unqualified city manager who had never worked for a city named Rob Field is the same way they brought you Charles Montoya, who had been previously fired from every position he was in and is under investigation. The same way that Rob Field brought his HR director up to be his assistant city manager, who was not qualified to hold that position, is the same way that Charles Montoya is bringing up the HR director, Susie Soren, to be a deputy city manager when she does not qualify. None of that helps us. None of that makes San Bernardino a better place. The truth is not an amazingly positive, shiny story every single day in our city. But you know what? You cannot solve problems unless you address them. And the only way to truly address a problem is to know what it is. And so I challenge you guys. I really do challenge you, San Bernardino. Go ask the candidates, go ask the council people what is going on in our city. Everybody has a pleasant sunshine. Here's what I'd like to do, but really, what is happening today? How do you work and collaborate with people who are working against the, the goodness of our city, that are actively colluding to move their private agendas forward at the detriment of you and me? Those are the questions you need to be asking, because you can't get along with people who don't want to get along with anybody that's going to stop them from doing what they want to do. So that's what I got for you tonight. It is it is what it is. So we can call out Charles Montoya, you can call out Susie. Again, this is absolutely reprehensible as someone, but look, this is our history, right? Of our HR department. Helen Tran, HR director, people are saying, hey, we're being sexually harassed, we're being bullied, we're being, mouth closed, got nothing to say. Eddie comes along, hey, unqualified city manager, I'll just give you a promotion. Don't worry about that. Boom, kept her mouth shut. Here's Charles Montoya. Here's all this stuff going on. Oh, hey, HR, just be cool. We'll give you a bump up. It's a cycle. It is just a cycle. So that's what I had to share with you guys tonight. I hope, you know, knowledge, I hope you guys understand knowledge is power. So there you have it. Please feel free to keep putting whatever you want in your comments and spread the word. Share this. Let everybody understand the only way to get out of the darkness is to put it in the light. And I'm here for that. So thank you guys, San Bernardino. I appreciate you. And together we really will. I 100% believe we'll make San Bernardino an all-America city again. We just we just have to face the truth. All right, guys. Good night.